Hey guys, Jake from CameraPro here. Today we've got the brand new Sony FX3, the newest addition into the Sony cinema lineup, and we're really appreciative to get it in from Sony Australia today. We went out and shot some awesome footage out at Mount Cootha of our great model friend Kiara. We'll leave her details down below so you can check her out as well. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the specs and the details and our thoughts of the camera overall, we just wanted to show you some footage out of it and the kind of stuff you can shoot with it. So enjoy. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that footage. Big thank you to our model Kiara. She was a great help to us that day and such short notice as well, so we really appreciate it if you guys could go check her out. So the Sony FX3 is the newest addition to the Sony cinema line, and it's a great hybrid of the convenience of a mirrorless camera and the small form factor, as well as giving you the professional touches and things you'd expect out of a cinema camera. Utilizing the same groundbreaking 12 megapixel sensor from Sony's A7S III that released last year, the FX3 crams all that image quality into a very pocketable form factor. One thing that I like about the camera is that it uses the menu system from the A7S III instead of the one that's in the FX series, which to be honest I find a bit complicated. Although they've made a lot of good strides on the FX3 with the menu system, it could still be streamlined a bit. With internal 4K footage at 10-bit 422 and the possibility to record externally on a 16-bit RAW file through the Atomos Ninja 5, you get a lot of file to work with here and you can grade it however you need to. For those of you that are into slow-mo, you'll be happy to hear that you still have 4K 120p on this camera and 1080 at 240p. You're going to be able to slow the footage down a fair bit and still keep a high resolution at that. All of this can be recorded in the same innovative dual card system that's been used on the Sony A7S III as well as the FX6, which allows each slot to take either a CF Express Type A or a standard SD card. One feature that was added that was great to see is the addition of the S-Cinetone picture profile. This originated from the Sony Venice series and has since trickled down to the Sony FX9 and FX6. The S-Cinetone profile allows for a much better match straight out of camera if you're using the A7S III, FX3, FX6, FX9 and even the Sony Venice cameras. It really allows you to both match and also replicate the look of some of those big dogs up there. Moving on to the physical features, the Sony FX3 has been able to reutilize the great interface of the A7S III, but has added some more video-centric features that will allow you to do less rigging to get a more professional result on set. One immediate difference you'll notice between this and the A7S III is that the FX3 now has an active fan system, which basically makes heat a non-factor in hot climates such as Australia. The rest of the body shows great consideration for video shooters as well, as highly used features such as focus peaking, zebras, and focus magnification are given prime real estate on the back of the camera. On the note of usability while filming, you can always rest assured that your shot's going with the included tally lights on the front, top, back, and outlining the screen of the camera. This is going to be great for solo operators who don't have a crew to let them know that their camera's still going, and is going to be awesome for making sure you get the shot. With smaller form cameras being more popular on set, the Sony FX3 has done us a big favor here by putting a bunch of 1/4-20 screws all over the body. You've got them on the top, bottom, side, they're everywhere. Although I would have loved to see an extra screw mount on the bottom of the camera for securely mounting tripod plates, the overall use of extra mounting options basically renders a cage obsolete for this camera. One of the main use cases for these top mount threads is the included top handle, which features a dual XLR input, which allows you to get professional grade audio into your FX3. We'd like to thank Sennheiser for sending us over some of the EW500 G4s. It's a wireless lav kit that goes through XLR straight into the top handle of the FX3, which is how we're recording audio for this video. The audio sounds great and it's awesome to have professional inputs on such a small camera. We've got links below for all the gear that we use for today as well. Although I do love the fact that this camera comes with a top handle, it does feel a little bit plasticky compared to the rest of the solid build of the camera. I could also see if you've got some larger shotguns in this mic unit up here, that it would get a bit front heavy, and you might even see it in the frame in some of the wider angles. So that's something that I would have loved to see done a bit differently. Although this camera is still quite similar to the A7S3, you have some key differences as far as the build of the camera. It's in a lot more small of a form factor, more like the A6600 and A7C. So it's going to make putting it into smaller packages a lot easier. You do also get the included top handle and a bunch of mounting options. So I do think there are a lot of differences between the cameras that separate them. Now, as far as similarities, you do have the same UI and great system, as well as the articulating screen that we saw on the A7S III. That's always a welcome thing to see in the Sony systems. Although stills aren't a main consideration with this camera, it is good to know that you can still shoot photos in a stretch. The one thing that you do miss is a viewfinder with this guy, so if you're looking for an all-in-all solution, the A7S III is probably a bit better for that, but it is good that you can still take stills with this as well. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. In conclusion, I really like this camera. We had it on the DJI RS2 gimbal, and it was super light, super nimble. I could get wherever I needed to, and I had no strain on my back. This is going to be a great B cam to something like an FX6 or an FX9, or if you're just getting into the Sony cinema space, this is an awesome entry. I think the small form factor and the fact that it comes with the top handle with the XLR inputs is going to be really enticing to people that are looking at an A7S III already. Although I would have loved to see the internal variable ND system that the FX6 and the FX9 feature, I understand that they had to cut it out to keep it this small. And overall, the form factor is the real draw to this camera. The fact that you get a capable camera like this in a system this small is why you pick it up. Otherwise, you'd use an FX6 or an FX9 anyway. Whether you're keeping this small and light and using it on something like a gimbal or a drone, or you're building it all the way up to the point where you've got external batteries, monitors, and matte boxes, you're gonna love this camera. The output that comes out of it is incredible, the autofocus is fast, and it's super usable right out of the box. Alright guys, if you liked today's video, get in the comments down below, leave us some feedbacks and likes. We really want to hear from you about what you think about the camera and what you want to see next time. Feel free to subscribe so you can see whatever we've got coming up next, and thanks for joining. Catch ya.